Hi, everybody. My name is Jessica Medina, and I am from the Financial Aid Office. Welcome to Paying for USC. We are hoping to answer quite a few questions today. I have a few colleagues with me, and I'll have them introduce themselves.
My name is Lori Council, and I'm representing the Office of Student Financial Services and the University Cashier's Office. So hopefully we'll have some information for you today.
My name is Danny Finley, and I'm with the USC Financial Aid Office as well.
Okay, so we're going to wait for a few more people to actually join the chat. And in the meantime, we can give a general overview of the cashier's office, student financial services, and financial aid until we get a few questions. For those of you that are joining us, feel free to populate any questions and we can get right into those questions. But with that, Lori, do you want to give just a little synopsis of maybe what's the difference between financial services and cashiers?
Okay. Well, let's start with maybe what you might be experiencing. If you're a brand new student, you would have had to register for classes for there to be any charges on your student account. And hopefully you've logged in to Oasis and viewed information on USC EPay, which is where you would see all of the billing information. But if you have pre-registered, then a bill was generated this past weekend on the 24th. So you can log into EPay, view that bill. Of course, as Jessica and Danny will point out, there isn't all the federal aid isn't deducted from that statement yet. But you can go back to your student account after the federal aid has posted and view the most recent balance. But we want to let you know that you need to be proactive on that and view your balance and take a look at it and make sure that that payment gets resolved by our settlement due date of August 21st. And then just the differences between student financial services and the university cashier's office. Cashier's office will generate the bills and issue them via ePay, and you'll be able to contact the cashier's office if you have any billing questions. But our Office of Student Financial Services issues the promissory notes for your federal Perkins Loans and also manages the 5-month payment plan. So that's just another payment option for you.
And as Lori mentioned, some of the financial aid has not expensed to your account. Danny, do you want to kind of go over what has possibly already expensed to the account and what will expense 10 days prior to the first day of class?
Yeah, sure thing. So I hope most of you have applied for financial aid, and if you have, you should have received your financial aid award summary by now. When looking at the financial aid award summary, any gift aid, those are going to be things such as grants and scholarships. There's no other further steps that you need to take. Any grants or scholarships from the university itself will have already dispersed to your billing account, but any grants from the federal government or the state government, they will not disperse to your account until 10 days before the start of classes.
Okay, thanks, Danny. Did you have any questions with that?
Yeah, our office has received a couple of emails questioning the bill, but they are recipients of USC aid, like the grant, and it hadn't posted yet. So we actually referred them to you, but what would be the reason that they have not posted?
Sometimes your university grant will not expense to your account. There's a variety of reasons. So one may be, let's say you informed us that you are going to be enrolled full-time and you are not enrolled full-time, so that the system doesn't automatically hold on disbursement, so we wouldn't be able to expense that university grant until you actually enroll in the correct amount of units that you informed us. Also, if you haven't registered for your classes, so if you are going to be attending the orientation the week before classes start during welcome week, since you haven't registered for your classes, you don't have a bill as of today. Therefore, we can't expense your university grant at the moment. And anytime you have any questions on disbursement of aid, you really want to be contacting the financial aid office. The cashier's office wouldn't be able to assist in answering any questions of why something has not expensed to the account. That's really our job in this entire role. So you want to contact the financial aid office. And it looks like we have somebody that joined us. So if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat box and we'd be more than welcome to answer those questions. Right now, we're really just discussing just hot questions that we usually get throughout this time of the year. And one of them is how to set up a payment plan. So maybe we can talk a little bit about how billing is generated, how financial aid expenses. So on EPay, it's a central billing system for the university, and that's where all of your charges will appear for charges that the university is billing you for directly. Tuition, mandatory fees, room, board, if you have a parking permit, health insurance, those will all be billed on that EPay account. Your financial aid will expense to that EPay account. And let's say there's a difference. Let's say there's an amount that is owed of $5,000. There's a variety of payment options that are available. And I can have Danny talk about the Parent Plus loan in just a minute. But Lori, if you want to go over what is a payment plan and how does somebody set up a payment plan?
Okay, so in Jessica's example, if you owed the remaining $5,000, you could, of course, just log into ePay and make that payment directly to the cashier's office, either with a deduction from a checking or savings account or via credit card, where the university takes Visa, MasterCard, and Discover if you were going to make a payment on your ePay account. But let's say you could not make the full $5,000 payment and chose to spread those payments out. Well, that's where the monthly payment plan would come in. You also enroll for that online using the logging into the ePay system. There'll be a link on the ePay page that's entitles you to enroll in the 5-month payment plan. You do have to be a registered student to enroll and a student in good standing, meaning you owe no money from a prior semester. Once you click that link, it's basically going to ask you how much do you want to divide into installments. So if it's the full $5,000, you would type that figure in. The system would divide it into the 5 installments for you and require you to make the first installment in addition to the $50 application fee immediately. So that one installment is going to be required to complete the enrollment in the payment plan, and then it will schedule the remaining 4 payments due the 3rd of every month from September 3rd through December 3rd for the fall semester. If you're interested in the payment plan in subsequent semesters, you would always have to enroll. Our payment plan generally opens and you're eligible to enroll once the bill for each semester is generated. Okay.
And Danny, do you want to talk a little bit about the Parent Plus loan as an option to help finance that amount as well?
Sure. So for parents of dependent students, they have the option to take out the Parent Plus loan. The way they would gain access to fill out the Parent Plus loan application is by going to studentloans.gov. There they can request up to the remainder of the cost of attendance to be borrowed with the Parent Plus loan. With that, this loan does have a credit check associated with it. So when the parent is applying, they would have to have their credit approved. Once their credit is approved, then they can sign the master promissory note on the same website on studentloans.gov. With the Parent Plus loan, it is an unsubsidized loan, so it will be accruing interest as soon as it's borrowed. With that, the parent has the choice to either have the funds that are refunded, so once the bill is completely paid, all funds that surpass that can be refunded either to the student or the parent. It's up to the parent's discretion since they are the borrower. With this loan, the parent also has the option to defer a repayment until 6 months after the student graduates. And it is a federal loan with a fixed interest rate. And the interest rate will be fixed for the life of the loan.
Okay, and another question that we usually get is about WorkStudy. So WorkStudy is listed on your financial aid summary, and a big question that we get from a lot of students is, how do I actually find a WorkStudy job? Do the funds go directly to the ePay account to pay towards tuition and mandatory fees, or do the funds come directly to me? And a lot of students think that they're actually repaying WorkStudy back to the university for some reason. So I wanted to talk a little bit about WorkStudy. So WorkStudy is a federal allotment that's awarded to a student. If you are eligible to find a WorkStudy job on campus or to earn WorkStudy, it will be listed in your financial aid summary. You do need to find a WorkStudy job on campus. So it's a very proactive process on behalf of the student where they actually have to seek out employment. However, we help facilitate that conversation by hosting a WorkStudy fair, and it's usually the Thursday or Friday before classes during Welcome Week. We will send an email to you letting you know the date, time, and location of that fair. Something that you actually want to do to prepare yourself for that WorkStudy fair is to, one, create your schedule of availability. So after you've registered for your courses, then you would be able to know what days of the week you would be able to work. And that's usually a question, that's usually the first question a potential employer on campus will ask. And the second one is to make sure that you are not utilizing those WorkStudy funds when you are calculating your portion of the bill that needs to be paid by the settlement deadline, because again, those funds go directly to you. It's sent in the form of a paycheck, and you get a paycheck every single 2 weeks, and the amount is dependent on the hours that you work within those 2 weeks and your salary as well, or your hourly rate that's set out by your employer. So again, WorkStudy does not go and expense to your EPay account. Those are funds that go directly to you. And another thing that we usually get questions about are Stafford loans. So Danny, I'm going to kind of throw it back to you for the Stafford loan. So if you can kind of go over what is the application process, what happens if a student doesn't want to borrow a Stafford loan, what do they do in that situation?
Sure. So for students who have received their financial aid award summary, they should see how much Stafford loan they are eligible to borrow. For incoming freshman students, the maximum amount that they are eligible to borrow would be $5,500, and that would be $2,000 in unsubsidized funding and $3,500 in subsidized funding. Now with Stafford loans, there are two different types like I just mentioned. There's unsubsidized, which is accruing interest as soon as the student borrows the loan and will be accruing interest throughout their time here at USC. And there is subsidized loan funding. That subsidized loan funding is not accruing interest until the student either drops below half-time or graduates from the university. Both of these loans have a 6-month deferment period before the repayment is due. And if you do want to borrow these loans, the next steps that you will need to take is you will log in to your FAST account. You can gain access to this through your My USC account, then click on the Financial Aid tab. Once in the FAST account, they should be located under Required Info and Forms. You will then submit the Stafford Loan Request form. After you submit the Stafford Loan Request form, then the student will go to studentloans.gov. At studentloans.gov, he or she will then submit a master promissory note as well as do entrance loan counseling if this is the first time that they do borrow the loan. If for any instance the student doesn't want to borrow the loan, they are not required, and they're also not required to borrow the full amount if they do not want to. If they don't want to borrow their loan, there is an option on the Stafford Loan Request form to decline the loan, or they cannot take any steps any further. So if they just don't fill out the Stafford Loan Request form at all, then they will not be borrowing the loan. With this loan, it also has a fixed interest rate for the life of the loan, as very similar to the Parent Plus loan. If I forgot anything, is there anything that you want to add, Jessica?
Nope, that's it. Actually, Lori's going to go over the Perkins loan as well right now, since that's the other student loan option that's available.
Right. So if you were awarded a Perkins loan by financial aid, you would have received an email from an institution called ECSI, who is our servicer for the Perkins loan, instructing you to complete a promissory note online. A lot of the problems we're having with that is that the servicer needs to authenticate who you are so that you can sign the promissory note. And if you're not able to authenticate, you are requested to complete the online entrance counseling. So you'll continue through the online process, even though it says it can't authenticate your identity. Complete the entrance counseling online, and then it will require you to print the promissory note. After you print it and sign it, you can either return it via mail or walk it into our office. So if any of you out there had to print that promissory note, there isn't a deadline to get it to us before you get to campus. You can bring it on move-in day and drop it off. You know, we'll all be in the Lion Center doing the registration period, and you can drop it off at that time. But once again, if you're a Perkins loan recipient and unable to complete the entire process online, no worries. You simply print that promissory note and get it to our office, and we will be able to manually input that information so that your funds are expensed to your EPay account. Okay.
And in addition to that, the federal government has decided at the moment they haven't taken any action to actually renew the Perkins loan for subsequent years. So you want to make sure that if you are an entering student and you have a Perkins loan in your award summary, that you actually sign that master promissory note. I would say by add drop, most likely, probably by the third week of classes. That way we have enough time, since it is a manual process, we have about 2 weeks, because the deadline is September 30th. We have about 2 weeks to actually get that document processed and have the Perkins loan actually expense into your EPay account. If you do not complete that by, let's say, the third week of classes, you will be ineligible to borrow the Perkins loan for the full academic year, and we will not replace that with any other source of funding. So you really want to make sure that if you are planning to borrow the Perkins loan for the fall and spring semester, that you sign that master promissory note. Again, I would say by add drop, which is September 14th, I believe. If you can get it in sooner, I would get it in sooner, because again, it is a manual process if you do have to bring in that paper master promissory note.
Just an update. I think it's September 11th.
Oh, September 11th.
The add drop date. I just want to make sure that all of our listeners have already updated guest users or authorized someone as a guest user on either Oasis or EPay. It's very important for all of our students, if you're going to have parents or grandparents or anyone calling or contacting our office on your behalf, either the financial aid office, cashier's office, student financial services, that we have the student's authorization to speak to whoever's calling. There's something called what is it? The
FERPA?
The FERPA.
FERPA.
There's something called the FERPA that requires that we have, that we guarantee the students a certain right to privacy. So we're not able to just release information, even if your parent is assisting you with payment, and even if your parent is, your financial backer, unless we have your authorization to discuss this information with them, we're not supposed to. So please establish guest users either on Oasis, which gives them more access than just billing access, or if you only want them to have billing access, establish a guest user on EPay. They will get their own login information that is managed by students. So we always let parents know, if you lose your login or you lose your password and you're not able to log in, we refer them back to the student, because that information isn't retained or held by the university anywhere. It's up to the students to manage guest users. So please create those guest users.
Danny, do you have any questions that you might want to bring up? Maybe questions that students have been asking you the last few weeks?
One thing that I do want to bring up, I don't know if Lori touched on it, for those of you who are going to be receiving any federal aid funding, you will need to go to EPay and do the Title IV authorization form. That's something very important. It's a form that is required by the federal government to allow those funds from the federal government to disperse into your billing account and to start to pay off some of your bill. So I would just advise taking care of that form as soon as possible. It's a really, really easy and simple process to do. I believe it's only about 3 questions that they do have to fill out and then submit that form. That's just all I have.
Okay. I also wanted to go over the interest rates for all of the loans that we've been talking about. So we've been talking about loans, but we haven't been discussing the actual interest rates for them. So for our Perkins loan, that's a 5% fixed interest rate for the lifetime of the loan. Our Federal Direct Stafford loan is at a 4.29%, and the Parent Plus loan, which is in the name of the parent, is fixed at a 6.84%. And again, those are fixed interest rates for the lifetime of the loan. So they're never going to increase and they're never going to decrease. They all have origination fees, or not all of them, just the Stafford and the Parent Plus loan have origination fees associated with them. So for the Federal Direct Stafford loan, it's a 1.073%. And then for the Parent Plus loan, it's a 4.288%. And again, the Federal Perkins loan doesn't have an origination fee associated with it. So if you borrow $5,000, half full expense in fall and half full expense in spring. Anything else that you guys would like to add? Any of our viewers have any questions? Feel free to type those in the chat box, and we'd be more than welcome to answer those for you.
I would just like to encourage you to be proactive. You can send emails. No question is, too small or too minor to ask. Ask the questions, get the information. Don't allow your account to go past due. Meet the deadlines. And if you require some more information, please send us emails, give us a call, let us know what it is that we can help you with.
Mm-hmm. And just kind of to wrap up, maybe I'd like to go over the reapplication process. For those of you that have applied for financial aid, you do have to reapply every single year. So for the 16-17 academic year, I can't believe I actually said that. So then for the 16-17 academic year, you will have to reapply for financial aid, meaning you have to submit your FAFSA, your CSS profile, and any other necessary documents to our office. The deadlines will be posted on our website sometime at the end of this fiscal year. So sometime around December, you should see those deadlines posted on our website. Keep in mind that applying on time ensures your financial aid eligibility. If you apply late, you are subject to a reduction in the amount of financial aid that you're eligible to receive for next year. So it's very, very important that you apply on time. There's actually 3 main reasons why a student's award summary would drastically change from one year to the next. At the top of the list is students forget to apply for financial aid on time. And we understand it's during midterms for most of you. There's a lot of stuff going on in school, but that's why we try to inform students as much as we can. Put it in your calendar. We try to send reminder emails as well, so that way you can remember to apply. So that's the number 1 thing. Submit your application documents on time. Number 2 is the number of students within the household that are pursuing an undergraduate degree. If that number changes, it's also going to have an effect on the expected family contribution that is calculated. And the third item is the parents' income, investments, and assets drastically change from one year to the next. That would also have some type of a change within that expected family contribution. And with that, if any of our viewers, again, have any questions, we'll be on for just a few minutes. Anything else to add? Danny, do you have anything else to add?
One thing else that I would add is just borrow responsibly. When you are borrowing these student loans, remember that you do have to pay them back, and defaulting on a student loan is very serious. So just always consider that, and just borrow as much as you need, and just be very careful with borrowing all of the loans that you plan to take out. As well, for those who may not know what an origination fee is, Jessica touched on those earlier. Those percentages gets deducted from the amount of loan that you are borrowing and are sent back to the federal government in the form of a payment. So say, for instance, you borrow a $1,000 loan, that percentage will come off that, and then you will get a smaller amount dispersed to your billing account. So that's just something to keep in mind when you are borrowing the Stafford loan or the Parent Plus loan.
And we also display those amounts on your FAST account. So if you log into your FAST account, you would be able to see the amount that you actually borrowed, your gross amount, and then the net disbursement amount. So the gross amount is the amount that you initially submitted your application for, and the net disbursement would be the amount that is actually dispersing to your EPay account.
I just wanted to add with regard to the payment plan that you do not have to wait until the federal aid expenses on the 14th. You can certainly do the calculations yourself. I know financial aid has a worksheet that you can utilize, but whatever the current billing balance is, if you would just do the manual calculations to come up with a dollar amount, if you enroll in the payment plan and then later find that you've either under budgeted or over budgeted, you can simply contact our office. It's not, we can change it for you. We can help you make that change. Of course, it's easier to decrease the budget and go forward with the payments, but we can also increase it if you've made an error and your payment plan is $1,000 too small. We can increase it and thereby meet your debt need with the university, so that your account will be resolved and your monthly payments will go up a little bit. Okay, so you don't have to wait.
And Lori also mentioned our undergraduate planning worksheet. You can actually access that via your FAST account. So in the top right hand corner, there's a little paper icon with an arrow that points to the right. If you click on that, it downloads an Excel spreadsheet, which you are able to run through with your EPay account and list out all of your charges, your financial aid. Your gift aid will automatically populate, and then the loans you are able to go through and work with. So that kind of ties in to what Danny was mentioning earlier about borrowing responsibly. This is a great tool for you to actually go and utilize and see and ask yourself, how much do I actually need to borrow? And once you start putting in those numbers, it'll affect the either refund amount or the balance that is owed, and you can actually see that change in real time. That way you are, again, only borrowing what you actually need, and then you're able to accurately account for the EPay or for the 5-month payment plan and actually set up that amount as well. And with that, I know that we haven't had any questions lately, but if you do have any questions, Danny, would you like to give our contact information? And then Lori, if you want to give your contact information for Student Financial Services.
Sure. So we're located in John Hubbard Hall. You can just walk right into the lobby. There is no appointment necessary to sit down with a counselor. We are open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. As well as we do have a phone number. Our phone number is 213-740-4444. And that is staffed by counselors. So if you want to give us a call, we can help you out that way. Go over your file. If you log into, or if you go to our USC financial aid website as well, you can contact us through email there. But feel free to give us a call or come into our office anytime during the semester or even before the semester. We're more than happy to help.
Okay, and for my office, Student Financial Services, which you may have questions with regard to the federal Perkins loan or the monthly payment plan. We are located in parking structure B, which is behind the Lions Center, and our office hours are 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. You can certainly come and visit us when you're on campus, but you can also email us directly at uscsfs@usc.edu or give us a call at 213-740-4077. That's for the Perkins loan and the payment plan. But if you just have billing questions for the university cashier's office, their email is cashiers@usc.edu, and you can contact them by phone at 213-740-7471.
Alrighty, and thank you so much for joining us today. We hope that we answered quite a few questions for you. We are excited to see you on campus come August. We've been working pretty hard this summer to make sure that everybody is ready to go at the start of classes. So we are welcome to meet you. We are excited. We hope you have a great time here at USC, and fight on.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course.
Fight on.
Fight on.